From Del Rio, Texas, Rob Wade and Robert Garza. Two guys who dive. This episode of Two Guys Who Dive, recorded Saturday, 21 July 2012, episode 25, You Never Know Until You Try. And here we are once again with another episode of Two Guys Who Dive. I'm your host, Rob Wade, and I'm here with...
Robert Garza.
Also, one of the guys who
The
dive.
elusive Robert Garza.
The elusive, no kidding. You know, it's like playing the Where's Waldo. Where's Scubabob? Where in the world is Roberto Garza?
I'm going to activate the navigation on my phone. You guys are going to have to track me where I'm
at. Oh, my gosh. I was going to have to send out a search team.
Yeah, Bing Maps.
Yeah, it works. It really does. You know, speaking of maps, we might as well talk about the tech stuff today, or at least a little bit in the episode. For those who happen to have a Nokia Windows phone, you may have noticed that, I think it was Thursday, they released a new version, 3.0, of the Nokia Drive, which is basically the turn-by-turn voice
navigation.
It was awesome before because they really did a good job to kind of put it on the same par as like the Google, what is it? Not Google Maps, but what is it?
It's something like that, yeah. I don't know the actual name of it, but I know which one.
Which Google, I have to admit, did a pretty decent job with their turn-by-turn navigation. But Nokia kind of stepped up the game and kind of did a really good job with Nokia Drive 2.0, but they just released 3.0, and just it's even faster as far as pulling the maps down, and you can store whatever maps you want on the device, which is really cool. So if you expect that you're going to be dropping in and out of signal, and you don't want to try and pull the pretty qualitative maps that they have down, you can do that ahead of time, which is really nice.
Yeah.
And they also added a commute feature, which is kind of a lost, a wasted, it's kind of a wasted feature for the Del Rio area because, quite frankly, it doesn't take much to navigate around here. It's just that simple.
It's not that small.
It's not. Yeah, it is. I mean, I work out at the base, as does a large portion of Del Rio, and there's basically two ways to get to the base. So it's not rocket science. It's not like driving in San Antonio or someplace like that. But what you can do, which is pretty cool, is it's got the commute function. So you can say, okay, here's where I'm starting, normally from home. You save that location. And then here's where I work, and then it will constantly update traffic information, etc. And so it will always keep you posted if you need to go an alternate route, and it'll say, it'll give you a suggestion that there's traffic up ahead. You may want to take this exit and move here. So it can be a really handy feature if you work in an area that's got a lot of traffic.
Yeah, possible congestion.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. And everybody's doing that kind of thing anyway. They're augmenting their navigation apps to kind of make your drive a little bit easier, a little bit faster. So that's pretty cool. So, man, it seems like it's been a while since I've had a co-host up here.
It's been a week.
Yeah, but then then you were here, and then you were gone, and then you were here.
Yeah, that's something that I'm definitely working on. It's just,
your smartphone has this thing called a calendar.
Yeah, no, it's just, and that's the thing. I mean, this isn't one of those things that you forget that you got to do. It's
right.
That we're doing it. And it's just, unfortunately, something came up that was really important and needed my utmost attention, so I just couldn't step away. I would have been neglecting my ethical duties had I done that. So
I'm going to fix a shadow that's on your face, so go ahead and keep talking.
Is there a shadow?
There is a shadow.
Hello. So no, I just had to. I had to take care of that. Oh yeah, it was a mic. So, but no, I'm back, and I actually did get to catch some of the actual podcast, and you looked lost without me, Rob.
I was.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do my best not to let that happen anymore.
Please, please.
Yes.
Of course, you know, we like to get another person every so often to add to the group. You know, we try to bring Troy in.
Yeah, Troy's fun. Troy's cool.
Yeah.
We were having an interesting discussion about there at during the dive club meeting at Rudy's, and we were talking about pork.
Pork.
He had a pork sandwich.
Oh, were you investigating whether it would be worth your purchase next time? Maybe.
Well, you know, I actually, in looking at it, he had it up and he was.
It was
chewing.
a big old sandwich.
He was chewing on it. And it had the stuff dripping out of it, and I wasn't sure if that was like the grease coming from the pork, or if he had added like a sauce.
No, it was that au jus.
Right,
which
it was the sauce.
The poor girl working at Rudy's restaurant, which was where our dive club meeting was. And again, if you missed it, which most of you did, you missed a good time. It's great food, great atmosphere.
You missed my baked potato.
It was a humongoid baked potato. I mean, that thing was monstrous. You could hit somebody over the head. It was like a football.
It was like the way Tara put it. It was mammoth.
It was the mammoth. It was old woolly mammoth. Actually, what did you have on that thing?
It was just brisket, cheese, and butter. But that thing
a
was
brisket
like
potato.
Huge.
And you had to have brisket potato.
Thing was huge. It must have weighed like 7 pounds.
Yeah, I had a baby. No,
it was I consumed a small baby.
I had a nice juicy baby. No, it was just a big potato. I don't know where they grew that thing. Wasn't around here.
That Miracle Grow sure works
That's
wonders.
what it is. But the poor girl working the counter just couldn't pronounce that sauce. It was like au jus or something. I mean, it was just like I think she said it like three different ways, 3 different times. It was like I kept trying to kind of feed her the correct pronunciation. You know, in between, I was like au jus. It's au jus, au jus. I think she was probably thought I was saying, you know, Gesundheit or something like that. Au jus.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to figure out, like, again, if that was sauce or just the fat dripping out of it. And he goes, no, it's a sauce. And I was like, okay, because I was starting to worry there a little bit.
It was very drippy. And, of course, I always go for the lean brisket, which is really good there.
Yeah.
And I don't use the sissy sauce. I use the actual Rudy's sauce, which it really isn't that hot, but my wife thinks so. So she goes with the sissy sauce.
I usually break out the Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce out of my bag, and I'll just pour it
What? I've never seen you do that.
Yeah.
You have like some people carry a little flask of, you know, something 80 or 90 proof, and they're like tossing it back. You know, you don't do that.
No, I don't
do that. You bring
You
your own barbecue sauce.
I bring my own barbecue sauce. Yeah. Sweet Baby Ray's honey barbecue sauce.
Sweet Baby Ray's. We got some Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce. Where do you get that Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce?
You can actually locate that in any grocery store.
Located at a grocery store near you.
Yeah.
Sweet Baby Ray's.
So it's actually really good.
Zatarans.
I seen that.
Zatarans.
I hadn't seen that commercial in a long time.
I know. I actually saw that the other day, and of course, as soon as I hear a commercial that has a very distinctive voice, I start trying to say that voice because I just love doing imitations. We were cracking up off camera while we were trying to get everything prepped for the show. I suddenly broke into my Jimmy Stewart. My wife loves Christmas time. She loves the Christmas movies, and one of her all-time favorites, of course, is It's a Wonderful Life. And so, you know, I always hear that in the background, usually multiple times throughout the season.
The holiday season, yeah.
And so, you know, and Jimmy Stewart has such a distinctive voice, and so, you know, well, Mary, would you look at that? We got one of those right here in Bedford Falls. Well, that old man Potter, you can just keep your rundown slums. So's pedals. It's just a trip.
No, it went from It's a Wonderful Life to Harry Potter.
Yeah, he was like old man Potter. He thought I was talking about Harry Potter. And I was like, well, maybe old man Potter was like grandfather or great grandfather to Harry Potter. And he wasn't all about magic. He was overcoming the legacy of his evil great grandfather.
Yeah, he was a muggle.
A what?
A muggle.
A muggle,
Yeah.
as opposed to a mogul?
Well, no, a muggle is supposedly in the Harry Potter trilogies. It's somebody who's of non-magic, kind of like just a regular
Kinda like
person.
me.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm of non-magic. I don't do Harry Potter movies.
Yeah.
Speaking of movies,
Yes.
of course,
The movies.
I don't know what rock you would have been under to not know that this weekend was the opening for the third and final entry in the Batman, the Dark Knight trilogy. Of course, the Dark Knight Rises. And we saw the 9:45 showing.
Yeah, but prior to this, they had a midnight showing, and there was a.
Do you have any idea how well that was attended?
It was really good.
Because they had it on like 4 screens, right?
Right. I don't know.
In Del Rio, Texas, which only has 8 theaters, so.
And I really don't know exactly how the outcome of as far as the numbers were, but I know there was a tragic incident that occurred in
Aurora,
in Colorado.
Yes.
And it's pretty sad. Last night there was police officers or sheriff deputies there.
Sheriff was there.
Yeah, at the theater just to kind of keep an eye on things. It's really sad. That 12 people lost their lives while they were just going to go and enjoy the movie, and I think that's really idiotic. I mean, what makes somebody do something like that? I don't know. Having worked in the career, in the field of law enforcement for nearly 20 years, it's something that I still don't know. Having been with the criminal element in the jail setting and stuff,
not been with. You've had to deal with.
I've dealt with them actually inside the jail environment and outside. Actually arresting them.
Right.
And you just never know. People just do kind of really strange things. So it's scary. It's scary that this is the world we live in.
Well, they of course they caught the guy, and interestingly, he went in there. I mean, he was decked out. This guy, had a machine gun? He had assault rifle. He had tear gas mask, so he could protect himself from the tear gas. He had a
handgun.
and
a bulletproof vest too.
And a bulletproof vest. So I'm like, and this guy was working on his PhD for in the medical technology field or something. So I'm like, what kind of
what went wrong there?
Yeah, what went wrong? What snapped in a guy like this? But you can't say that it was something that actually snapped, because there was a lot of thought and preparation that went into this.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, a lot of people were talking about that. Somebody going in like this, typically they have a death wish. They're going in, they're going out in a blaze. But obviously, you don't go in with bulletproof vest if you are expecting to get killed. So I think he wanted to get caught, which he of course was.
Apparently, the inventory of his vehicle produced more weapons actually.
And as of this morning, I haven't even, because I've been so busy today, I haven't found out what the outcome was. But they had his apartment. They were trying to get into his apartment, and they found, the thing was booby-trapped like crazy. All sorts of, like, mortar weapons. We're talking mortars.
That's
mortar
crazy.
shells and chemicals and all sorts of stuff. And so they evacuated the apartment complex, the area that he lived in. And so they were still trying to figure out, they were sending in those robot cameras that can sniff the air for chemical weapons, stuff like that.
Yeah.
This is some serious stuff this guy was into.
That's crazy, and I just, for the families, I feel for the families of the 12 that didn't make it. And of course
it was 14.
It was 12 and apparently 50 wounded.
Yeah.
And yesterday when we went into the theater, we went to 10:30. You went into the one before us, and I'm looking around. And there's little kids in the theater, and I just feel, I'm sure there was little kids in the theater, even though it was a midnight showing, but still, it's just,
and there was a baby, like a 1-year-old or less, that got killed, if I understand correctly.
I don't remember.
And I'm like, first of all, why would any? I'm going to get on my soapbox here. Why in the world would you bring that young a child to a movie that late? And quite frankly, The Dark Knight isn't The Dark Knight because it's some happy little elf movie. It is a dark and violent movie.
Yeah.
What in the world? Parents, I'm telling you, if I could just wring your neck for doing stuff like that, you should know better. That's not smart. That is the kind of thing that just invites kids to grow up with a really weird, twisted look on things. As adults, you should have the capacity to separate those things out. You should have, although
the
clearly
difference
some
between
can't.
wrong and right. I mean, you see it and it's okay.
You
but
compartmentalize.
Right.
But little kids, they don't
They're
get
sponges.
that.
They're sponges.
They absolutely. They don't have the sophistication to comprehend the make-believe, especially as realistic as movies make it look these days. So anybody who's stupid enough to take their little kids and there were plenty in the showing that we were in, and I was just like, I wanted to smack them. I'm sorry. Just quite frankly, I wanted to smack them.
Just because there's no nudity, the violence alone. I mean, when people are getting blown up,
getting
shot,
necks snapped and
shot
and blown apart. I mean,
choked.
Yeah.
It's not a good thing, especially nowadays. Obviously, this gentleman that went into this theater was like 24 years old.
Right.
So it's a serious thing and it needs to be addressed. And I think it starts in the house.
It does.
And you really need to just kind of try to control it as much as possible.
When the mother of this perpetrator, I'm sorry, I refuse to call this the alleged assailant.
No, he was an assailant. He did it. I mean,
I don't. Yes, our laws are innocent until proven guilty, but I'm sorry. At this point, you have too many eyewitnesses on phone cameras and stuff like that. No. There's no alleged. He did it. The guilty party, the executioner here, the mother said, you got the right guy. All right. Yeah. What kind of mother knows that their son or daughter is violent or has a violent tendency and does not do something about it? I mean, come on. Okay, end of soapbox. Back to the actual movie itself.
Going back to the movie, my brother saw it last night, and he's the one that I called and asked, hey, is it good? I said, it's good. It's dark. He goes, there's a lot of talking in it. And he goes,
Wait a minute. What does that mean? There's a lot of talking. They messed up the movie with dialogue.
Well, no, I'll tell you honestly, though, when you guys, if you've already seen it, I don't know if you feel the same way I do, but Bane just spoke a little too much. I was getting on my nerves.
Well, you know what? It wasn't so, for me, it wasn't so much that he spoke, because I liked the dialogue.
I was having a hard time understanding what he was saying.
That's the thing. I'm like, okay, if you're going to just start talking through this thing, or, and he had an interesting little dialect going anyway. But if you're going to have somebody like that, you need to. I don't think they would win any awards for sound editing or sound recording for this movie, because it was so difficult most of the time to understand it.
The explosions were cool and the sound effects were awesome, but just him talking was an effect. And Dominic was telling me that supposedly he read that they actually had redone the voice to try to get it more so that you could understand it, because you couldn't hear it. Right. And to me, I was having a difficult time understanding it at some points, because you spoke like Jimmy Stewart there for a little bit.
Or a little bit of Sean Connery too.
Yeah, they were saying
it kind of had like the Sean Connery.
On the drive back to the house at 2 o'clock in the morning. 2 o'clock in the morning, we were trying to figure out, was that Sean Connery's voice?
That's right.
I think it was.
Special voice dubbing by Sean Connery.
Well, anyway,
is he a knighted person yet? Is he Sir Sean Connery?
Sir Sean Connery, yes.
Yeah.
But Roger Moore got knighted first, though.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's just wrong.
Yeah.
I was speaking of Roger Moore. What was I? Oh, I was guilty pleasure. I was catching the last part of the Spice World movie on TV.
Yeah, where he comes out,
and he has these weird sayings. And then it was just like, huh? It was just fun watching him. I'm not a huge Roger Moore fan. I did like some of the James Bond movies that he was in, but not all of them. Yeah.
He played the part the longest. But they were great actors, great movies.
Yeah.
But anyway, going back to the original movie we were talking about,
Batman.
The Batman. I actually enjoyed it. My brother did tell me.
I did too.
He just said, "No, don't take Brandon. It's a little too much."
Yep.
So it was kind of cool. We went late at night.
Wasn't as packed as I was expecting it to be.
No,
I mean there was lines. No, how long did the line get when you were going for the?
We were right in the front. We got it there at 9. The
Right.
movie didn't start till 10:35. The line was all the way outside.
Oh wow.
Mhm.
Okay. So it may have been a little bit more packed for your movie than it was for ours.
There was still some seats.
There were a good, healthy number of seats available in ours.
Yeah, of course. I think a lot of people packed in the evening, the early show, the midnight showing.
Yeah. But, the critics were largely panning it. Matter of fact, I noticed that some of the websites that posted, their critique of the movie stopped allowing comments on their reviews of the movie because people were like practically threatening to kill the reviewer. You're an idiot. How do you not like this movie? Ugh. I mean, they were just getting venomous and violent, in their scathing attacks on the reviewers. But, and I'll be honest with you, I rarely like the movies that critics like. It's usually the exact opposite. So I don't place any kind of credibility in what critics say. They just have weird ideas of what it makes a good movie. So, and I have particular styles of movies that I like anyway, and it's usually not the ones they like. So they generally have been kind of meh to saying things, as far as even going so far as to say, well, the movie's, this movie is doesn't make any sense. It goes all over the place, and it's not telling a coherent story. I'm like, that's not how I got it at all. I thought it was a perfect third movie to close out the trilogy.
I think it was great. It was done well. My brother, obviously, when he was kind of giving me a little bit hint about the movie, he was way off. Yeah,
intentionally or just didn't get it.
No, I think he was like, there's villains coming out all over the place, and I don't know where they're coming from. Well, luckily I had the human comic book next to me, which was Dominic. He was like, oh, this is this person. This, and I was like, you remember that? And I was like, I remember that now. Seeing that in the comic books. So I had to kind of flash back to some of the comic books, and these characters are coming out exactly the way they were supposed to.
Yeah.
The only thing I didn't expect to see was where Wayne went broke. I wasn't expecting that one.
Yeah, that one kind of caught me off guard. I
think that.
But I will tell you, and Tara will back me up on this, as we're going along, and I won't do any spoilers for people, but
right.
I pretty much pegged certain characters, that certain people who turn out, it gives you a hint of who they will be.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, so in other words, surprise protagonist in the movie. I was like, I'll bet that person's in on it. And sure enough, I was right.
I didn't expect that
really?
person. Yeah,
I did. There was, because there was a look, and there was something else that once I saw the look, and I coupled that with something earlier in the movie. And again, I don't want to spoil it, but I was like, ooh.
What kind of started giving me away was when that person was climbing up out of the pit of despair or whatever.
See, I didn't draw that.
When that person was fighting, he was pretty buff. So I immediately said, hey, wait a minute. He's fighting exactly like who. And sure enough.
Yeah, that part I didn't see.
Yeah.
But I saw that. Well, again, I eventually I figured out ahead of them the making the reveal that the one person was in on it.
Yeah, well, that one dude was like fighting off a whole prison full of people. I kind of like, this guy's got
but
skill.
they didn't show you that as much of that scene.
Yeah, until the
earlier,
end. You're right.
And you're like, okay, but then I thought it was interesting, the whole thing with Selena Kyle. Because clearly she had the seriously hot outfit on.
Oh, yeah, and she can drive that bike.
She can drive the bike. But with the little night vision goggles flipped up. I was like,
yeah, it looked like her little ears.
or did you get the feeling that could have gone the Batgirl direction
Batgirl
too?
Right, because she actually was helping him out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, the character named Selena Kyle, of course,
Right.
was matter of fact, that was if I remember correctly,
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Michelle Pfeiffer. That was the character. But I thought it was interesting. I was like, well, her name's not Barbara Gordon, but I totally pegged the young officer.
Yeah.
Totally
yeah,
pegged that.
Yeah.
Totally pegged that. I was like, yes, I was right.
But the cool, I really like the way the bike turned. The
Yeah,
wheel that
well,
spins
if
over.
you look in the previous movie, it did that too,
Yeah, but it just wasn't like they didn't.
as pronounced.
Yeah, they didn't show it as much. This thing was cool when it like jumped up on the. It was.
That
you
was
guys
neat.
got to go see it. You
Yeah,
guys gotta
it's
go see
really
it.
some great
Yeah.
effects. The only disappointing thing, of course, that it wasn't in 3D. I think it would have been
Oh God.
spectacular in 3D, but it wasn't. But that's okay. I'll still buy the movie. Yeah, it was pretty good. So, so generally, what would you rate the movie on a scale of 1 to 10?
On the Robert Flamingo scale, I would go probably
Flamingo.
Yeah, Garza Flamingo. I actually started sending emails like that to my boss.
Oh,
and he hasn't said anything yet, but Bobby Flamingo, the poker king out of Florida, out of Vegas.
You're killing me.
Anyway, the Flamingo scale will give it about a 9.5.
I would agree. I would agree.
I would say
the sound editing for Bane was the thing that detracted it from me.
Right. Had I been able to understand them and maybe less dialogue on the boy, I think it would have gotten a 10 from me.
Yeah.
It was perfect.
Yeah, I have to say.
And it if you've seen The Dark Knight, and then this is The Dark Knight Rising, it starts off and it does a really wonderful job of being able to kind of connect the older movie to this one. Mm-hmm. So it goes on, so it doesn't leave you hanging like.
Yeah, because they actually pointed back to, and it was kind of neat to see Scarecrow showing up.
Yeah, Scarecrow.
I was like, Terry goes, that's all like, yeah, Scarecrow.
Yeah, he came out on this one. And they did it cool because they're talking about the DA that died
Right.
and everything. So
Harvey Dent.
So it was pretty cool. Really
And
great.
a special guest appearance by one of our 4 dogs. Hi, Ronan. Say hi to everybody. Yes. He was feeling a little left out, so he was whining to get back up. So let me put you around the back here. So, yeah, I have to agree. 9.5 on my scale as well.
Yeah, it was
and
good.
I pegged the very, very ending, too.
Yeah.
I said, yep, and he'll be with, and sure enough, that was good. It was good. So even though Christian Bale has said he's done,
I don't know.
what do you think?
I
Clearly,
think,
they left it open where they can continue on the franchise if they
yeah.
choose to.
I
Now, in the comic books, because I kind of stopped reading comic books years ago, but I do recall, wasn't there one where Batman died and so somebody else took over as, like, didn't Robin become like Nightwing or something like that?
Right, and that's kind of where we were talking about last night, where it actually might head to
Go that direction?
go that direction. It's like anything else. When an actor says, "I'm done with it,"
Money talks.
money talks. Exactly.
And this thing has to be making money hand over fist.
For example, Arnold. I think I remember reading that Arnold Schwarzenegger, after Terminator 2, said, "That's it."
Yeah.
And sure enough,
Cha-ching!
Cha-ching, the Rise of the Machines came out, and
Yep.
we got the Governator back out on the.
Well, they did that whole the digital superimposing his face kind of thing that they did in Tron Legacy, which was good. Man, we should have named this episode at the movies, but
Right.
part 2. But
All right, let's go. Let's keep moving.
So anyway, talked about last week. Of course, I'd just gotten back from a trip to Balmorhea. You would have loved it. You would have had a blast. We had such a great time.
Balmorhea is
And
nice.
it is. It's awesome. And, of course, we're going the 18th. So if you'd like to tag along, I'd love to have you. And I said I would try and get some video together for this episode. We did focused on the snapshots last time because I
Right.
was kind of I'm now really seriously getting into the photography and videography, and so
and I actually sent you a message. The camera that
Yeah.
that you posted
Yep.
or showed last week was the one that I'd been kind of eyeballing for a while.
Yeah.
Except without the actual video strobe
right.
or the light for the video. I just wanted the actual camera with the flash. And it runs about $800, so you're paying an extra couple $100 for the light.
I get a
video
good
light.
deal as
Yeah.
an instructor. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
so I can get it for under $1,000, the pro version. What are you doing to my microphone, man?
It moved on me.
It's like
It's slapping me in the face, Robert.
it's like that commercial where is your food funny? Or it's like the whole stomach thing. That's hilarious. Those are funny, especially with the chicken wing. Is like it's really awesome. So anyway, we had a great time, and some of the folks that went with us who weren't divers had an opportunity to engage in some Discover Scuba. So I've got some video here I'd like to put up, see if we can get this rolling here. There we go. Yeah. So here I am getting ready to jump in the water. I love doing these as you get in the water kind of shots. They're just kind of neat.
Where is everyone? I don't see anybody there.
Well, this was earlier in the morning, and we got in before a lot of people were there, which was nice. It was very different from our visit the previous month when we were there on the weekend for Father's Day. See all the fish like, you got food? That was Troy, whom, if you are a regular viewer of the podcast, you saw him. And we had some. There were some classes going on, not nearly as many as last time. There's Tara getting ready to jump in. I can't wait to get that Sea Life camera. I'm just really anxious to get some good, really awesome high def video. Yay! And we were making sure we followed all the little. There's a little scooter which got wet, so I'm having to see if I can salvage the circuit board on it.
And I was about to say, bring that baby out in August because I want to try
I'm
it.
gonna see if I can get it up and running, but it is a lot of fun. It almost sounds like the Jupiter 2.
That's Jupiter too.
That's a Lost in Space reference for those of you who are not hip to the lingo.
Like, how much speed can you catch on that thing?
It goes about 3 knots, which I have to keep up with it. I have to swim pretty hard. The one thing is, it's a dual, as most of them are. It's a dual trigger activated, and so your fingers get tired. Yeah. Matter of fact, Troy was going like this, and I knew what he meant. He was meaning his fingertips were getting numb because he was pressing the triggers. And actually, that same weekend, somebody had a Sea-Doo, which looks exactly like this. This is made by another company, but it looked exactly like this, so I think they're made by the same company. So I might be able to find a replacement circuit board for it. Just by getting one off a Sea-Doo. Now, this is, again, the Intova IC10 underwater camera with housing, and well, it's actually a decent land camera, but it has underwater housing with it, and it only shoots. It does 30 frames per second, but in the highest resolution, or in the lower resolution, but it does when you set it to VGA mode. You see it like this. But I really want a high def. One of Troy's focuses for this trip is he wanted to really work on some of his skills, specifically the buoyancy control, and he also got his kicking down. One of the things I try to impress upon students is that you want to kick correctly so that you're efficient in the water. But you see a lot of bicycle kicking and just weird kicks that aren't very efficient, and so you end up using up a lot more of your air because you get overexerted. You see, he's got good extension. His legs aren't stiff, but all the work is done
At the fin.
And of course the thigh muscles, which are the most efficient for this kind of activity.
I think we need to take Troy out on a night dive.
I don't. He definitely got spoiled here. I don't know that he would be real. He'd definitely need to get a few dives under his belt especially out at the lake.
Oh yeah.
To get to a point where he's comfortable, trying out a night dive. Of course, Tara's very good on her air too. She's got a good kick. She's another one that's kind of spoiled for the lake, diving places like here or the Caribbean. When we were talking before the trip, one of the things I had kind of cautioned Troy about that is kind of a pet peeve of mine. You can't really help it, but is a lot of the newbies get out there and they just kick stuff up all the time.
Yeah.
Especially when we have a lot of students. I mean, they don't. They're not comfortable with the. They're not comfortable with having 3 dimensions to operate in, so their feet. They're trying to get their. They think they have to get their feet underneath them, so they're kicking and flailing all over the place, not realizing it's okay if you land on your knees. It's okay if you sit down on your butt. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's just. And it's better yet if you can get your buoyancy control down where you're not touching the bottom at all. Did you get a good shot there? Very good. Yeah, nice.
Oh, I hate this picture. It's going into the trash.
There I am on the scooter. I was trying out a friend of ours who were actually at the dive club meeting this month. Gave me that suit. That was Trish and Gay. They went to an estate sale, and they came away like for pennies. They came away with a lot of gear, some old regulators, stuff like that. And of course, neither of them could fit into this wetsuit, and it fit me perfectly. So I was like, I'm going to try that out. I really like the Firmer John kind of feel. Very comfortable. Got a little chilly because, again, the water there at Balmorhea is 74 to 76 degrees year-round. So you can get a little chilled. But it was very, very comfortable. It was in the mid-90s all weekend. Here I am doing a little Discover Scuba with some of the kids. This is Noah Jones, the youngest of the Jones clan. He was really anxious to do this. The thing for him was as a matter of fact, this was true for almost everybody, just couldn't equalize. And of course, that's an important thing. You have to be able to equalize to get under any kind of depth at all. And of course, as you commonly see, they don't know how to kick right, so they'll scull, which is cupping your hands to pull yourself along. And this is just below the surface. This is the concrete area off the steps. You see all the kids that are playing around in the water there.
And even though that they're still playing, they're kicking stuff up because on the concrete there's all that, and it still looks good.
Yeah, it was very slippy.
It was
very slippy. Matter of fact, we kind of had fun with it. We're standing on the wall, by the wall, right where those steps come into that section. And when you have your fins on, there's no gripping those things. So we would literally stand there, and it was a slight slant, so we'd slide without moving. You just slide away from the wall. Okay, we started to go down, and then he indicated he was trying to equalize, and he couldn't, so he gave me the sign. Yep, there we go. That's the good sign. So we went and aborted the dive. So this is Michelle Vega.
Was she able to equalize? Or same problem?
No, she was able to get down a little bit more, but not very much. So we kind of cruised along the edge. We got a little bit more distance for her. She's older, 15. But she had a good time with it. Not really too many issues there. Again, as with everybody else, the big issue is if you can equalize, we can get you down.
Right.
She's still getting kind of used to the whole, how do I get air out of the BC so I can drop down? Troy is working the camera, by the way. He was our cameraman for the
nice
for the
video,
episodes.
Troy.
Yeah, he's doing a good job.
Good video, Troy.
Yeah. But the neat thing here is the visibility is so good. You can cruise along the edge of this walkway and you see that it just kind of becomes natural bottom. And you could see all the way to the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
She kept her hand on her nose because she was trying to equalize the whole time. I think she was determined if she'd found a way to actually equalize well, she was ready to drop. She was ready to go ahead and go deeper, but she kept trying and just couldn't equalize. But still, she enjoyed the experience. But this is to show you that anybody who's willing to try it out can do this.
Mm-hmm.
It's there's some skills you have to learn, but if you pay attention and don't get fearful,
that is probably the best advice that you can give someone. Yep. If you really want to try it, just keep at it a little bit.
Right.
I mean, move slow. If you obviously can't equalize, you can't go down.
Right.
We don't want to rupture your eardrum,
right.
Obviously.
But no barotrauma.
But if you continue with it, you will eventually succeed and become a diver.
Right.
Try not to let the smallest things, interfere with your desire to dive.
Exactly. And if not today, maybe tomorrow, kind of thing.
Right. It's just something that's really, really wonderful, and once you do it and you get it, I mean, it's great.
See, she got off the edge a little bit. That's Troy and Jennifer's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
She'd actually tried it a couple of years ago in the pool and just was kind of meh about it. But since we're going here, she definitely wanted to try it out again for here, and she liked it. She really enjoyed it.
Yeah. And it's one of those things. I mean, we've had this discussion before. It's not really for everyone.
Right.
If you try it and you develop, you may not know that you're claustrophobic or have some kind of phobias, and
right.
Especially in the water.
Exactly.
These things will manifest themselves pretty quick, and you'll know. This is not for me.
Now this was Tom Jones.
Tom Jones.
It's not unusual to be loved by anyone. But, of course, that's Noah's dad. He's the bass player in our praise team, our adult praise team. And so he's been anxious to try this out. And he was able to actually get down. But he still got to a point where he was having a few equalization issues. There. Yes.
There it is. There you go.
Is that from Space Invaders or Mars Invaders or whatever?
No, it's the actual album.
By anyone.
His greatest hits.
Okay, it scares me you have that on your...
Oh, yeah. I'm a big Tom Jones fan.
My mother was a huge Tom Jones fan. She liked Elvis and Tom Jones, which really Tom Jones was England's answer.
He's from Wales.
Wales. There be whales here.
He's Welsh.
So Tom did pretty good. He was, still doing the kind of the bicycle kicking thing, but starting off, he didn't really have any issues equalizing.
That's great.
Of course, he was, doing the seesaw thing with the buoyancy control, which is very common.
Takes a few dives, get it down.
But he was getting the rhythm of, okay, I got to let all the air out of the BC so I can sink.
For as many dives as the students are doing during their open water certification,
Yeah.
they get pretty good at
Yeah.
towards the end of the dives. I mean, towards the end of the days.
Yeah, you can tell the ones that are going to get the knack and those who are going to have to really work at it.
Yeah.
This was later in the afternoon. This was about, I want to say 5:30, something like that. It didn't seem to bother him. He was sporting Tara's pink tank.
As long as you're doing what you like, it doesn't matter.
That's
what
right.
kind of things are.
Because I'm determined to get my purple tanks.
I thought you already had one.
No, I got to get them.
I sport the silver tanks.
Yep, with the red
mesh.
the blood red mesh on them.
Yeah.
Which those look good.
Yeah.
And you keep the tanks in good condition, polished,
Yeah.
not all scratched up. It really looks good. Bounce. But Tom had a great time as well. He really enjoyed it. Of course, when you actually get to some depth, because we're along about 18 feet there.
And he's never dove, correct?
Right.
Okay,
Totally new.
Perfect. Well, looks like you got it down there, Tom.
He was doing good. So
awesome. Now you just got to get certified now.
yeah, there we go. Well, they've got a pretty decent pool too, so I could actually get them a little bit more experience in the pool if they want to get certified. But unfortunately, they will not be able to go with us on the August trip, which is a shame because, as a matter of fact, this week they're down on the Texas Gulf Coast. They're down in South Padre.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they got a deal. A relative of theirs has a timeshare. Oh, you hear that? That was somebody with that Sea-Doo. I was like, wait a minute, I don't have the scooter out. I'm like, and then I look up and I see that silver and black Sea-Doo.
No.
But they were just snorkeling on the surface. They were using on the surface. I went, well, that's no fun.
Honestly though, that's how we hear when we're diving. We hear boats.
Yes.
They sound that close.
Yep.
Like you know exactly what you heard, but they're far away from us.
Yep.
And it's really nerve-wracking when you hear it because it's kind of like, how close are they really?
So true.
Sounds like they're right over our head.
Now this is Troy's wife, Jennifer. She really was determined to do this. I mean, it was one of those things where she's clearly got some fears about it, but she was bound to overcome them to some degree. She couldn't equalize. She couldn't handle the mass clearing, so basically all I could let her do was basically snorkel on scuba. But you get as close as you can get to that experience because Oliver was underwater. It's just the tank, of course, was on the surface.
Yeah, just breathing, on scuba is a unique experience.
It is. It truly is.
You're looking underwater most of the time, of course, unless you have a snorkel, you're holding your breath. And you're able to breathe, and it's actually pretty neat.
It's funny, if you watch every so often, she sticks her hand to check to make sure she's at the surface. But then there was a couple of times where she was kind of clawing, sculling at the water. It looked like she was trying to get down. I know she really wanted to, but I couldn't let her because she couldn't do the skills required
in the shallow.
To submerge. So I had to keep her on the surface. See, she keeps checking the surface. And she's bicycle kicking. But she thought it was cool because Troy is over here, and a couple times you see him lower. she thought it was kind of neat being able to do this and see her husband swimming around upside down, facing her down deeper.
Nice.
Yep. See, that's a bicycle kick. See, they make the fins push against the water rather than flip.
Mm-hmm.
See, this is so funny. You'll be cruising along, and all of a sudden, you'll like pick up all a school of fish that just follow you. I mean, they just like your little Pied Piper.
They want to get fed.
No kidding. I don't know what it is, but they think, what is it that they smell or whatever, that suddenly they all just congregate around you and they follow you. So I was just like cruising upside down and backwards so I could get this shot. It was so funny. Hear a little bit of the scooter again. I love the sound of bubbles underwater. It's just so peaceful. And that was one of the comments that Troy made. He said, you're down there and just floating and just moving along and in 3 dimensions, and it's just fantastic. So that's just some of the video. I took a lot of video footage of the trip to Balmorhea, and just if that doesn't make you want to do something like this, I don't know what else could
Provoke you.
Yeah.
It's again, it's really not for everyone, but if you try it, I mean, at least give it the chance. I know a lot of people that I've spoken with were like, I've always wanted to try that.
Yep.
I want to do this. Give it a shot. And
right.
We would be more than glad to get in the water with you.
Yep.
And let you experience this for yourself, so that you can judge it.
Yeah.
Don't let other people tell you. Try it yourself.
Right.
Because
you never know until you try.
Right.
That's
exactly. And that's the actual. That's the actual
title of the episode.
Title of the episode.
Right.
Try it. And unfortunately, a good friend of mine, the one that I went through the school with,
Yep.
he had a really bad experience, and he's not gotten back in the water. So, it's a shame, but
Yeah.
I don't know if I guess his phobia was enough to keep him out of the water, but at least he tried it, and he found out that it wasn't for him. He did successfully complete the course.
Yeah.
So he can get back in the water if he chooses to, but it's like pulling teeth, and my buddy's got all his teeth.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things. You also, as with any other activity, you need to check your motivation. If you're doing something because your friends or family are doing it, rather than because you want to do it, then you probably need to find something else to do. If your motivation is you've wanted to do this, then that is the perfect motivator.
Yeah.
To do it.
Again, so yeah, try it. Don't knock it until you try it.
So I believe this was your turn for a commercial,
Yes.
but didn't have time to get one together.
No,
I'm
but
guessing.
next week I will get one for you all.
Nice.
I'll try to do a good one, because the last time I kind of put it together real
Winged
quick.
it.
Yeah, winged it, and I didn't like that. It wasn't my style. But I will do something pretty good, and I'll try to do something worth y'all's time.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Well,
definitely.
let's hit the tips or trips, training, and tech. Okay, we got one more scheduled Balmorhea trip. That doesn't mean we won't try and do another one, but after August, it's becomes more challenging because school is back in, and while that means there's usually more availability of spots, and camp spots, and
I would like to do one in December.
what?
Yeah. I'd like to go up there in December. I know it's going to be cold, but the water's going to be warm.
Oh,
And-
absolutely.
And when we did the the spring dive.
Yeah,
in January,
February.
It was February.
February.
You know, of all days, it was not really cold this whole winter here in Del Rio.
True.
It just happened to be that this week we were gonna dive was the coldest of
and
them all.
windy too.
Of them all, and when we got in, it felt like a sauna. It felt nice
yeah.
and warm.
Yeah, we didn't want to get out of the water.
No, of course, when we got out, we ran.
Yeah,
to the truck. But I'd like to do one in around maybe not, I don't know, November, December time around there.
Yeah.
Because I know there's gonna be no one there, so we'll have the whole park to ourselves.
Now the nice thing is the heat that the compressor generates will feel really good.
Yeah.
I'll stand inside the trailer, thank you.
It's all right. I'll get carbon monoxide poisoning, but I'll be warm.
No. So we do have a trip weekend of August 17th, 18th. That will be our wedding anniversary. Tara and I will be married 23 years. Woo! So we're really happy about that, and we like to, we rarely do share it just the two of us. So we, at least if we have a bunch of people there, we'll be sharing with people that we know and have a lot of fun with. So, and what better way to celebrate than to be scuba diving, right?
I'll tell you.
So, and I believe there are some camping spots available. So if you contact Balmorhea State Park, look them up on the web, you can find their phone information, and they actually have improved their online reservation system. So definitely would like to see you there. It's a 4-hour trip from Del Rio, and easy trip if you can hit I-10, from where you're at. Spoke to some of our friends, the Sutherlands, Tom and Lana, and they might be able to make that. Of course, they've moved away. They now live in Austin.
Oh.
But matter of fact, while we were at the movie, they were seeing a play. They were seeing the Wedding Singer, done by a professional group, but that also involved non-equity players. She was sending me texting me pictures. We're sitting there waiting for the movie start, and they were sitting there waiting for the play to start.
Oh, wow.
So she's like texting me pictures of the theater, which was pretty neat. It was actually made out of a monstrous barn.
Wow.
But I said, hey, we've got our next scheduled trip in the weekend of August 18th, and they're both divers.
Her daughter lives in Austin, doesn't she?
Yep, I think that was probably a large motivator for them. But because of course they have the grandkid now.
Right.
So I said, we'd love to have you there. Just because you're moved to Austin doesn't mean we have to stop associating. Yeah. And it's just about as easy a trip from Austin as is anywhere else. So I said, see if you guys are free that weekend and want to get away. So we'd love to have you there. So you said you would be going. That'd be awesome.
Yes, definitely. I've made it every year.
At least once.
At least once every year. And this will be no exception.
Yeah. So, and the McGonagals will be there. So we'll have a pretty good group. Maybe Dominic could go.
Yeah, Dominic. Well, hopefully.
Yeah, I kind of ribbed him. I said, "Dude, you need to get back in the water.
Yeah.
I'm feeling like you're shunning us or something."
Yeah, no, he's trying to get back into it again.
Got to.
Yeah.
Longer you wait.
Yeah, he's he's on a massive weight loss issue.
Rediscovering himself.
Yeah, and he's off to a good start.
Right.
I applaud him. I think he'll succeed in what he wants to do, and now it's just a matter of time now. So he's moving on it. So hopefully he'll get back in the water soon.
And you can sign up for the last scheduled class of the year for the weekend of 23rd to 26th of August. Just check us out on the Facebook page. And our next dive club meeting at Rudy's Restaurant will be 16th of August. Love to see you there. And we have a great time. We did this week. Had a good time. A small but enthusiastic crowd. We had we had Gay Culbertson and Trish Urban, who is soon to become Trish Culbertson.
Yep.
Yes, they announced their engagement. So looking forward to maybe participating in that. They're not sure exactly all the details, but they'll keep us posted. So I definitely would like to attend that. They're good folks. Trish is a dive master, and Gay was one one of my students. So they're kind of, and they'll, a matter of fact, they said they're, when we were talking about there, they said they're going to try and get a spot as well.
Oh,
so
great.
we may have them as well. So we may have a pretty good sized group going. So it'd be great.
So it'd be great.
But the more the merrier.
You know, it's always a good thing to hang out with friends.
Yes.
And you know, again, you don't need to be a diver to go. You can just go and hang out.
Yeah.
If you're interested.
You know, it'd be nice to get Monica to go, even if it's just this once.
Yeah, she. In fact, I hadn't spoken with her, and I called her this past week because I needed to ask her a question about work, and she has been bed rest. Yeah, she had been bedridden because of her pregnancy.
Oh, that's right. That's
yeah,
right.
so you know, obviously
totally
it's going to be a
forgot
while before she gets in the water.
Yeah.
So I hadn't spoken with her, and she's going to return to work on the 8th of August, I believe.
Okay.
The doctor finally cleared her, so thank God everything's good
Yep,
there.
That's good. Good news.
Baby's doing well. She's doing well. So hopefully everything will work out for you, Moni, and we'll hope to see you in the water here.
Yeah, no kidding. We kind of miss you.
Yeah, definitely.
As we do any divers that we used to dive with, you know, we've seen the active divers come and go, but you need to get out there. You know, there's no reason not to.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
You know, if you know me, you know somebody with some gear, so I can probably hook you up.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I dive or used to dive a lot, with the exception of this coming summer or this past summer. I really haven't gotten into the water this season that much. But when we did that dive, Robert and I did a dive on a couple of weeks ago. And yeah, as much as I dive, I was going through some issues that I had to... You know,
It happens.
You know, kind of get readjusted here a little bit.
Right.
You know, kind of started feeling, and what I thought was claustrophobia, but it wasn't. What it was is it took me a while to realize it was something that we call the squeeze. The suit and everything.
Under pressure.
Yeah, the suit with the pressure of the water will tend to squeeze you, and you start feeling kind of restrictive, and you feel like you're suffocating, and that was exactly what I was feeling. So it took me a while to stop, kind of breathe, and then again, we were kind of deep. So
yeah, there's that.
But still, I was able to overcome everything, and everything was great. So it's just, and I dive quite a bit. So if it can happen to me, you know, and I haven't really dove that much this season.
Yeah.
It can happen to anyone.
Yeah. You know, that's the thing. Even if you get out there for, even if you get out there for just a short dive here and there, you know, maybe pull one dive a month.
Yeah.
Just let us know. You know, I'm pretty much always game for a dive. So even if all you want to do is get out there for a quick 20 minutes or 30 minutes, or, you know, we've got a perfectly good creek out here too, which is actually kind of fun to dive in.
Yes.
You know, and the visibility is actually often better there because it keeps it pretty cleared through, you know, because of the motion of the water. So yeah, just let me know. I'll take you out. You know, I'll dive with anybody. That's why I'm Scubadog. I'll dive with anybody. You just let me know, and we'll set it. You know, let's set aside an hour and get maybe a 20-minute actual dive in. So, you know, I got the trailer. We can head out wherever it is and just get her done. You know, because like we said, sea card means you can dive, but diving makes you
a diver.
Exactly.
You know, real quick, let me do a shout out to my brother-in-law who was helping me paint my kitchen. We had this discussion just a minute ago.
Really?
Yeah, just about an hour or so ago. You know, we were talking about painting, and he goes, "Hey, I didn't know you could paint." I said, "Oh yeah, you know, I've been painting a lot. You know, I mean, it's no problem." He goes, "So how often do you paint?" I said, "Well, my parents used to move around a lot, and every time we would move in, we'd have to paint the house. Got to paint the house." So he goes, "So does that qualify you as a painter?" You know, he was kind of, you know, shouting at me and giving me a hard time about it. And I said, "Well, it's kind of like we have this saying, you know." And he goes, and I told him, "Well, wait a minute." I go, "You have a commercial driver's license, right?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "I'm a truck driver." I said, "But you don't drive a truck." He goes, "But I got the license." I said, "Okay, so does that make you a truck driver? You don't drive a truck."
Right.
You know, so I go, you know, we have a saying, just because you got a commercial driver's license doesn't make you a truck driver. Driving a truck makes you a truck driver.
Yep. Absolutely.
You know, so it's, and I kind of told him
That's
that
a
little
fair
thing.
axiom.
You know, we have a saying in the dive community is having a C card means that you can dive, but diving makes you a diver. So I kind of threw that at him, but I just wanted to say hi.
Yep.
And thanks for helping me do the kitchen. I don't know if he's watching or not, but if he isn't,
Many hands make work light.
Yeah.
Yep. It gets it done a lot quicker.
Yeah. So thank you, David.
Awesome.
No, I'm not taking you to Manuel. It's like, hey, yeah, I'll help you paint, but you want to take me to Manuel's?
Oof. Their service is so slow, though.
God.
Yeah, I just get, they've got good food, although I didn't like their seafood type stuff. It wasn't well done.
If you're not hungry when you get in there, you'll be hungry by the time
will.
your food
You
gets there.
you will. So true. Well, that pretty much takes us at the end of another episode. So I think we should be on our normal schedule next weekend. But definitely, keep checking our Facebook page. We typically will post stuff most frequently there. So that's Facebook /Del Rio Dive Club. We also have the website, delriodiveclub.com. And, of course, you can email us. You see there's Scubabob's email address, or you can follow him on Twitter. And then, of course, there's my email address, and you can follow me on Twitter. Oh, no. That's just wrong.
He always shunks me when I'm not here playing the song that he's alone. So there you go.
Yeah.
Can't smile without me, Rob.
I grew up. I going through high school. I actually liked a lot of Barry Manilow's stuff. Starting to kind of play with the piano a little bit. I was a drummer at that point, and of course a singer. That was a good range for me, and he was very popular. But that was the one song I absolutely hated by the guy, and so that has kind of become our. When we finish up a night dive and we're floating on the surface, we break into that song and just. There's a little history behind that. We were talking about a movie, Hellboy, and Hellboy. I think it was 2. It was. They start playing this song because one of the guys in the movie is kind of depressed because he's in love with this girl and she doesn't know it. So he's what's the actor's name who plays Hellboy? Perlman.
Ron Perlman. Yeah. He grabs a little clicker for the stereo and he goes, "What song are you listening to?" He puts it in, and it's Barry Manilow. So we started singing it, and Robert just comes out and says, "That's the one song I hate from Barry Manilow." So we were on a night dive, and I just started. We were swimming on the surface. It was pitch black, and I just started singing that song, and he starts laughing. I can't see him. He's laughing, and he starts singing it, and he does Barry so well that he actually sounded really good. So now it's become a ritual.
And then our day song, of course.
Yeah, Green Acres.
Green Acres theme. Don't know why that thing.
That thing just popped out of nowhere.
Popped out there. Found myself singing it this weekend for some reason. So anyway, you can check us out typically every Saturday at 8 p.m. We were a little late this week because of some technical issues, but we try to be as stable as possible to make it convenient for you. But however, we upload this puppy. Look at those incisors. We upload it to YouTube and Vimeo, so you can check us out later and or download us to your favorite podcast device or smartphone. And we'd love to have you participate. We always have the chat room active, so for those who want to catch the show live. You can interact with the show, ask us questions. Still waiting for the a new release of the version of software I'm using for the podcast that allows the full Skype effect. So, sometimes we may bring you in on Skype when you can't be here.
Yeah. That would be great. I love being here because we can interact together, but either way, I'm still part of the show, so I just love interacting.
And just being able to bring in the guest as well. So
right.
So it's the end of this week's podcast, and we will see you next week on another episode of Two Guys Who Dive.